I've been in your waters. I came for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stanton and today I want to share with you my first impressions of the M11 Monochrome, as well as how having this camera has allowed me to address some of the misconceptions that I've had along the way, and sharing with you my journey of finally beginning to understand black and white photography. So I've actually purchased the M11 Monochrome for about half a year now, and the decision came as a means to consolidate the camera collection and kind of was an upgrade to the M9 Monochrome. Now the M9 Monochrome was a great camera. I've talked numerous times about it in this channel, and although I didn't feel limited by the camera as per se, the reason why I decided to jump onto the M11 Monochrome was I felt that the M9 Monochrome, it was an old camera and there was something inevitable. I felt that the camera would eventually fail. So I decided to trade in the camera whilst the camera was still worth something. And regrettably, I haven't actually used the new camera as much as I wanted to because life got busy recently, got married, had some work and various other commitments. And I only managed to take it on the occasional weekend, as well as 2 short trips to Bali during my wedding, as well as Okinawa in Japan recently. So I definitely haven't used it enough to call this a review as per se, but I think I've got a pretty good first-hand impression, and I wanted to share with you how that sort of changed my perception of black and white photography recently. So just a quick few points on what I actually enjoy about the M11 Monochrome, having used the M9 Monochrome previously, and as well as having tried the M10 Monochrome as well. So I think one thing that gets understated a lot about the new camera is really the low light capabilities. Now the M9 Monochrome was a very capable camera of shooting to just about maybe 3200 usable ISO. And with the M11 Monochrome, I haven't had problems shooting beyond 10-20,000 ISO. You don't have to worry about noise that much, and it opens new dimension to street photography because you now have the ability to really shoot from the hip and zone focus, even at extreme lighting conditions during dawn and dusk, which is sometimes one of the best times for street photography. During those times, I'm able to keep my camera settings at f8, 1/500th of a second on auto ISO, and that's something that's really underrated about this camera sensor, as well as its low light capabilities. The second thing I really come to enjoy is actually the electronic shutter system. The M9 and M10 don't have the electronic shutter or the hybrid shutter, so it means that I don't actually have to bring out an ND filter to shoot wide open at broad daylight. Now, for example, these are some photos that you'll find from the steel rim reissue, and I was shooting at the beach in Okinawa and it was very bright, and I was able to shoot the lens wide open because I really wanted to get that sort of shallow depth of field as well as isolation, which I think would have been difficult with the M9 or the M10 unless you had brought ND filters with you. So another thing that I've noticed is just a really good battery life. As I mentioned in previous videos, the M10 battery life was really quite limiting, especially if you would use the rangefinder, the live view a bit more. But here with the M11M, I can shoot the whole day and I've probably used less than half the battery, and it charges really quick on the USB-C. So those are my thoughts on the M11 Monochrome, and overall I'm really happy with the purchase, and I can't wait to continue to explore some of the capabilities. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about in the next few minutes, and it's really, why is the fascination with black and white photography, and my thought process of buying an M11 monochrome, and things that I've learned along the way. So I don't know if some of you would agree with me, but it just felt part of a natural progression of photography. I've been doing photography for more than 10 years, and I felt like I needed a different challenge in order for me to progress and grow as a photographer. And 4 years ago, when I came across the rangefinder system, that felt like a big jump, and definitely grew in certain ways. And now the transition to black and white photography really opened a different dimension to photography for me. So, when I was researching into buying a monochrome camera, I watched a lot of reviews online, which is, I'm sure, most of what you guys do when you're purchasing new gear. And I was convinced that the M11 was the ultimate gateway drug to black and white photography, the ultimate tool to capturing the incredible photo. You read so many things about low light capabilities, dynamic range, and shadow recovery that it almost becomes criminal to not put these abilities to use. And here I'm going to show you this photo in Lightroom, just to show you a before and after, to show you guys how incredible the shadow recovery is in post-processing. But sometimes I think it's very easy to get caught up amongst the hoo-ha of camera capabilities that it becomes easy to miss the point. To as far as where I would argue that the capabilities of the M11 monochrome can sometimes be your Achilles heel if it's not really understood properly, or if your approach to photography is not good. So obviously, having been constrained by using a black and white camera, and not being able to sort of go by my old default way of just converting what I would thought would be not good images in color, so just transitioning to black and white sort of approach. I've been inspired by various black and white photographers. Most notably is Van Ho, as well as Anna Schaller, to name a few. And I just spent a lot more time reading photo books, articles, and previous archives to really understand how they compose photos, how they see light, and how they manage to use negative space, and as well as understanding the interplay and the use of absolute darkness and absolute brightness in black and white photography. Now, because from a color point of view, or from a technical point of view, their photos are what I would call a histogram disaster. When you first get into photography, you learn how to read a histogram. You don't want shadows or highlights, in the video. In fact, I'm reading the histogram whilst this video is being recorded. So you definitely, it becomes easy to sort of get trapped into the sort of technical aspects of photography. And by saying that, I don't mean you shouldn't not understand the aspects of photography, but I don't think it should serve as an absolute guide to taking photos. But it's, you understand what they mean, and you are able to break the rules in that sense. I think that's really how people take photography to a different level. So, for example, let me show you an example of a cat photo that I took when I was walking in a small village in Okinawa. At that time, there was some stray light coming from the right side of the photo, and it was lighting up the scene beautifully. You see this really nice, I call shola light, coming into the photo, and the cat is there, and it's shining perfectly on the cat. And the cat's not moving, thank God, because otherwise it's difficult to focus with a rangefinder. And so if I were to just, blow up the photo or recover the shadows as one might normally do so, the photo actually loses its uniqueness. It loses the absolute darkness of the photo, which I think is also what makes this photo such a great photo. So I know a lot of you guys probably would have known these points before venturing into black and white photography, but this is definitely something that I've been trying to learn and master over the past sort of photo shoot experiences, and it's definitely giving me a very good lesson to approaching composition as well as really understanding lighting. So again, at the end of the day, like, photography is a very personal journey, and my goal for 2025 will be to continue to shoot more black and white photography, and I hope to share more of my journey with you on the channel. I think I'm really learning to enjoy the limitation of a black and white camera, and as cliche as it sounds, I do agree with the saying where the more limited you are, the more creative you become. So, shooting color and converting back to black and white is no longer the available and lazy choice for me. And in a sense, by feeling constrained by my equipment, I feel like I'm beginning to really grow and understand black and white photography gradually. So maybe that's something that you can do for your photographic journey in 2025. If you're ever feeling stuck, here's a tip: limit yourself. And it doesn't have to be, forking $10,000 to buy a monochrome camera. Start off by just showing all your presets in all your JPEG presets in black and white, or limit yourself to just using a 35mm lens, or limit yourself to shooting film only for a year, or shooting with one camera. So there's a lot of things that you can modify in your photography journey if you're really feeling stuck, and I feel like this was my interpretation of doing so, and I'm definitely enjoying the process. So anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video, and share with me in the comments down below, what are your goals for 2025, and what do you hope to improve in terms of photographer? And don't forget to give us a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow my black and white photographic journey for 2025, and I hope to see you guys soon. Till next time.